Have you ever found yourself holding on to someone even when every fiber of your being whispers, let go? It's a common story, one that feels all too personal yet universally shared. You love him. You've built dreams around him. Maybe you've even convinced yourself that he's the only one who could ever truly understand you. But here's the hard truth. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do for yourself, your happiness, and your future is to walk away. Think about it. How often have you stayed in a situation hoping against hope it would get better, only to feel more drained, more lost, and more disconnected from who you are? Women are taught to believe in the fairy tale, to fix, to endure. But what if I told you that real strength isn't in staying? That the most transformative act of self-love you could ever make might just be walking away? This isn't about bitterness. It's not about giving up. It's about stepping up. It's about embracing what Stoic dating and Stoicism teach us, the power to control what we can and to let go of what doesn't serve us. By the end of this conversation, you'll have 8 reasons, deep, empowering, and unapologetically bold, why walking away might be the best thing you could ever do for yourself. So, ask yourself, are you ready to reclaim your power? To discover the kind of peace and confidence that makes you magnetic, not just to others, but to yourself? If you feel that little spark of curiosity, that small tug of knowing that you deserve more, then keep reading, because the journey we're about to take could change everything. 1. Walking away is an act of self-respect. Let's start with the foundation, self-respect. How do you see yourself when you look in the mirror? Do you see someone who fiercely protects her values, her boundaries, and her heart? Or have you started to see someone who compromises too often, bending to keep the peace, even when it costs her pieces of herself? Walking away from a man you love isn't about giving up on love. It's about refusing to give up on yourself. Imagine this: you're in a relationship where you're constantly asked to shrink, to accept less, to silence your voice. Maybe it's subtle, he doesn't openly belittle you, but his actions, his lack of effort, his inability to meet you halfway speak volumes. Over time, that slow erosion of your boundaries chips away at your self-esteem. Why does this happen? Because somewhere along the way, you decided, consciously or not, that keeping him was more important than keeping yourself whole. But here's the truth. Your self-respect is non-negotiable. When you compromise it, you lose a part of yourself that no man, no relationship can ever replace. Walking away is the boldest declaration of love you can make to yourself. It says, I deserve better. It doesn't matter if he's the love of your life or if you've imagined a future together. If that love comes at the expense of your integrity, it's not real love. Real love respects, uplifts, and honors you. You might be thinking, but what if I never find another love like this? What if I regret it? These are valid fears. But Stoicism teaches us to let go of what we can't control and focus on what we can. And here's the secret. Self-respect attracts the kind of love you truly deserve. When you walk away from what doesn't serve you, you create space for something far greater to enter your life. Think of this as your moment to reclaim your narrative, to step out of the shadows of good enough and into the light of what truly honors your worth. The man who truly values you will never ask you to compromise your self-respect. And the man who doesn't, he's not worth the tears, the sleepless nights, or the energy you're pouring into him. So, let me ask you, what does self-respect mean to you? What would it look like to prioritize yourself for a change? And most importantly, are you ready to stand tall, walk away, and rediscover the powerful woman you are? Walking away isn't the end. It's the beginning of something extraordinary. It's your way of saying, I am enough, and I will not settle for less. 2. You deserve more than settling for less. Let me ask you something. Have you ever caught yourself making excuses for his behavior? Telling yourself that he's just stressed or tired, or maybe even that it's your fault he's not showing up the way you need him to? How many times have you convinced yourself that if you just love him harder, give him more, or prove your worth, he'll finally see how lucky he is to have you? If any of this sounds familiar, take a deep breath. You're not alone. Many women stay in relationships that no longer serve them because they believe that's what love demands. sacrifice, patience, effort. And while those things are part of a healthy relationship, they are not meant to be one-sided. So here's the truth that might sting a little but will ultimately set you free. You deserve more. You deserve a love that meets you where you are, a love that matches your effort, respects your boundaries, and uplifts your spirit. Anything less than that isn't love, it's settling. And you, my dear, are not meant to settle. Think about it. What happens when you stay in a relationship where your needs are consistently unmet? Over time, you start to feel invisible, unheard, and undervalued. You start to question your worth. You begin to believe that maybe this is all you're capable of having, that this mediocre version of love is as good as it gets. But deep down, you know that's not true. You know you're made for more. The problem is, fear keeps us stuck. Fear of the unknown, fear of being alone, fear of never finding another love. But let me challenge you with this. What if the love you're meant for is waiting just beyond the fear? What if the only thing standing between you and the extraordinary love you deserve is your willingness to walk away from the one that's holding you back? Walking away isn't about punishing him or proving a point. It's about making space for what's truly meant for you. When you settle for less, you block the blessings that are trying to reach you. Imagine what could happen if you stopped settling and started believing that you are worthy of more. What kind of love could you attract if you refused to accept anything less than what you deserve? This is where the idea of Stoic dating comes into play. Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our boundaries, and our standards, and to let go of the things we can't. You can't control how he treats you. You can't force him to change, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to walk away from a love that doesn't fill your cup, knowing that in doing so, you're opening the door to something infinitely better. And let's be clear, this isn't about perfection. You're not looking for a man who ticks every box on some unrealistic checklist. You're looking for someone who sees your worth and treats you accordingly. Someone who doesn't make you feel like you're hard to love. Someone who doesn't make you question whether you're enough. The love you deserve is out there, but it requires you to be brave. It requires you to say, "This isn't it," and walk away with your head held high. It requires you to believe in your worth, even when the world tries to make you doubt it. And here's the most beautiful part. When you walk away from what's not meant for you, you create space for something extraordinary. You give yourself the freedom to rediscover who you are outside of the relationship. You learn to love yourself in ways that no man ever could. And when you're finally ready to let someone in again, you'll attract a love that reflects the respect, care, and effort you've learned to give yourself. So let me ask you, are you ready to stop settling? Are you ready to claim the love you truly deserve? If you feel that spark of courage, I want you to do something for me right now. Hit that like button and comment number 1 below if you're feeling this message. Let me know you're ready to choose yourself, to step into your power, and to leave settling behind for good. And while you're at it, make sure to subscribe to this channel. This journey we're on together is just getting started. You don't want to miss the next step in transforming your love life and embracing your full potential. Here's the thing, settling feels safe because it's familiar, but the life you're meant for, the love you're worthy of, exists outside of your comfort zone. It requires you to take a leap of faith to trust that there's something better waiting for you. And trust me, there is. When you refuse to settle, you become magnetic. The energy of self-worth is irresistible. People are drawn to those who know their value and aren't afraid to demand it. This is the essence of stoicism and love. It's not about being emotionless or detached. It's about standing firm in your standards and refusing to compromise on the things that matter most to you. So the next time you find yourself questioning whether you should stay, I want you to remember this. Settling is a choice, but so is walking away. And only one of those choices will lead you to the life and love you deserve. You have one life, one chance to create the love story you've always dreamed of. Don't waste it on a man who doesn't see your worth. Don't settle for less when you know, deep down, that you're meant for more. Take a moment right now to imagine the kind of love you want. A love that feels safe, supportive, and empowering. A love that doesn't make you question your worth but instead reminds you of it every single day. That love exists, and it starts with you choosing yourself first. So let's make a pact. No more settling, no more making excuses, No more compromising your worth. If you're ready to take that step, hit like, comment number 1, and subscribe. Together, we're going to rewrite your love story. And trust me, it's going to be incredible. You deserve more. Never forget that. 3. It's about reclaiming control over your life. Let's take a moment to talk about control, not the kind where you try to manipulate outcomes or force someone to change, but the kind that quietly shapes your entire reality. The kind that defines whether you are steering your life or simply being swept along by the current of someone else's choices. When you stay in a relationship where your needs, values, or happiness are consistently sidelined, you give up a piece of that control. Maybe it doesn't happen all at once. It's gradual, almost imperceptible. You stop speaking up about what bothers you because it feels pointless. You compromise on things that matter deeply to you because keeping the peace seems easier. Slowly but surely, you wake up one day to find that the life you're living feels more like his than yours. This is one of the most insidious dangers of staying in the wrong relationship. It's not just about the day-to-day frustrations or the arguments that never seem to lead anywhere. It's about losing touch with the person you are, the dreams you once had, and the future you imagined for yourself. But here's the good news. You can reclaim that control. You can take back the power to define your own life. And sometimes the first step in doing that is walking away. When you choose to leave a relationship that no longer serves you, you're making a statement to yourself, to the universe, and to anyone watching. You're saying, I refuse to let anyone else dictate my happiness. I am the author of my story, and I will not let someone else hold the pen. Think about this for a moment. What does your ideal life look like? If you removed the relationship from the equation, what would you be doing differently? Would you chase that career opportunity you've been putting off because he's not ready to move? Would you spend more time with friends and family who uplift you instead of constantly prioritizing someone who takes you for granted? Would you finally travel to that place you've always dreamed of, but he's never been interested in visiting? Walking away isn't about blaming him or painting him as the villain. It's about recognizing that your paths no longer align. Maybe he's not ready to grow in the ways you need him to. Maybe he's content with a version of life that feels too small for you. Whatever the reason, staying means sacrificing control over your own destiny, and that's a price too high to pay. This is where the principles of Stoic dating can be transformative. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our choices, our responses, our actions, and to release the things we cannot control, like how someone else behaves or whether they meet our expectations. By walking away, you're not trying to control him or force him to change. You're simply choosing to take responsibility for your own happiness. And here's the thing. Reclaiming control over your life doesn't mean you'll never feel fear, doubt, or regret. Those emotions are natural. But what it does mean is that you'll no longer feel trapped. You'll no longer wake up each day wondering how you ended up living a life that feels so far from the one you envisioned. Control is freedom. Freedom to make decisions that align with your values. Freedom to prioritize your goals without feeling guilty. Freedom to create a life that feels expansive, vibrant, and uniquely yours. When you stay in a relationship that limits your freedom, whether it's because of his unwillingness to grow, his lack of effort, or his inability to meet you halfway, you're choosing to remain in a box. And while that box might feel safe, it's also suffocating. Walking away is your chance to break free. Imagine this. You wake up one morning, and instead of feeling weighed down by the compromises you've made, you feel light. Instead of dreading another day of trying to make something work that's been broken for a long time, you feel excited about the possibilities ahead. That's what reclaiming control over your life feels like. But here's the catch. Reclaiming control requires courage. It requires you to trust that you are capable of building a life you love, even without him. It requires you to believe that you deserve to be happy, not just occasionally, but every single day. And you do. You deserve a life that feels authentic, empowering, and aligned with your deepest values. You deserve a love that complements your life instead of consuming it. And you deserve to be in the driver's seat of your own story, steering toward a future that feels limitless. So let me ask you, are you ready to take back control? Are you ready to stop letting fear or familiarity dictate your decisions? Because once you decide to reclaim your power, there's no going back. Your world will begin to expand in ways you can't even imagine yet. Walking away isn't just about leaving him behind. It's about rediscovering yourself. It's about remembering who you are, what you want, and what you're capable of creating. And that, my dear, is the most liberating feeling in the world. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. When you choose yourself, when you choose to reclaim control over your life, you send a powerful message to the universe. I am ready for more. And trust me, the universe will respond. It always does. 4. Fear of loss should never hold you back. Let's talk about fear, specifically the fear of losing him. It's the quiet whisper in the back of your mind that keeps you stuck. The voice that says, what if I walk away and never find someone else? What if this is the best I'll ever have? It's powerful, isn't it? Fear can feel like a weight holding you down, convincing you to stay in places you've long outgrown. But here's the truth. Fear of loss should never, ever hold you back. Because when you let fear make your decisions, you give it the power to shape your life. And living in fear is no way to live at all. Think about it for a moment. What exactly are you afraid of losing? A man who doesn't prioritize you. A relationship that drains more than it gives. A future that feels more like settling than thriving. When you really sit with it, you realize that what you're clinging to isn't the man or the relationship, it's the comfort of the familiar. The fear of loss isn't about him. It's about the unknown. It's about stepping into a space where the path ahead isn't clear, where there are no guarantees. But here's the secret. The unknown is where all the magic happens. It's where you discover your strength, your resilience, and your ability to create a life that feels expansive and fulfilling. Let me share something powerful with you. When you stop fearing loss, you gain freedom. Freedom from the anxiety of trying to hold on to something that isn't working. Freedom from the exhaustion of trying to fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. Freedom to finally let go and create space for something better to enter your life. Stoicism teaches us this important lesson: control what you can and let go of what you can't. You cannot control whether he chooses to grow, to change, or to meet you where you are. But you can control whether you stay in a relationship that no longer aligns with your needs and values. Walking away is an act of courage. It's saying, I refuse to let fear dictate my life. And let's be real, fear is a liar. It tells you that you'll never find love again, that you'll be alone forever, that no one else will want you. But deep down, you know that's not true. You are magnetic, powerful, and deeply deserving of a love that feels easy, fulfilling, and joyful. The kind of love that doesn't require you to sacrifice your happiness or your peace of mind. When you allow fear to control you, you're saying, I don't trust myself to handle what's on the other side of this decision. But let me remind you, you've faced challenges before. You've survived heartbreak, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty. And every single time, you've come out stronger. This time will be no different. So, let's flip the script. Instead of fearing what you might lose, start focusing on what you stand to gain. Imagine waking up each morning without that sinking feeling in your chest. Imagine spending your days filled with joy, laughter, and people who genuinely uplift you. Imagine creating a life that feels authentically yours, free from the constraints of a relationship that no longer serves you. When you let go of fear, you create space for something extraordinary. The love you're meant for cannot reach you if your hands are tightly gripping the wrong one. The life you're destined for cannot unfold if you're too afraid to step into the unknown. And here's the most incredible part. When you stop fearing loss, you become unstoppable. You radiate confidence and self-assurance, which makes you irresistible, not just to potential partners, but to the universe itself. Opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with your highest good will naturally gravitate toward you. Let me ask you, are you ready to stop letting fear control you? Are you ready to step into your power and claim the life and love you deserve? If this message resonates with you, if you're feeling that spark of courage deep within, I want you to take action right now. Hit that like button and comment number 1 below if you're ready to leave fear behind. Let me know you're choosing yourself, your happiness, and your freedom over the limitations of fear. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This journey of growth and self-discovery is just beginning, and you won't want to miss the next steps. You deserve a love that makes you feel fearless, a life that feels limitless, and a future that fills you with excitement. The only thing standing between you and that reality is your willingness to let go of the fear of loss. So take a deep breath, hold your head high, and remind yourself, you are stronger than your fears. You are capable of walking away from what no longer serves you, and you are worthy of everything you dream of and more. Let this be the moment you choose to trust yourself. To trust that the unknown holds more for you than the fear of what you're leaving behind, because it does, always. 5. Challenges lead to growth and better opportunities. There's a painful truth about life and love. Sometimes, the most difficult decisions we face are the ones that lead to the greatest transformations. Walking away from the man you love, even when it feels like tearing your heart in two, can be one of those decisions. But here's the paradox: it's often through the hardest challenges that we grow into the strongest versions of ourselves. At first, it feels like loss. The dreams you built together start to dissolve. The routines you shared vanish, leaving behind an unsettling silence. You wonder if you'll ever feel whole again. But as the days pass, something unexpected begins to happen. That same space that once felt like emptiness begins to feel like freedom. Challenges, like heartbreak, force us to confront parts of ourselves we might otherwise ignore. When you step away from someone you thought would always be there, you're left with one undeniable truth. You are all you truly have. And that truth, while daunting, is also profoundly empowering. When you walk away, you're not just letting go of him. You're also letting go of the version of yourself that accepted less than you deserved. You're shedding old fears, outdated beliefs, and the limitations you once placed on your own happiness. In their place, you begin to rebuild. Think about it. When was the last time you truly prioritized your dreams, your goals, or your happiness? In relationships that no longer serve us, it's easy to get lost in the act of giving. You pour so much of yourself into someone else that you forget to save anything for yourself. Walking away is your chance to change that. It's your opportunity to redirect all that love, energy, and passion inward. This is where the beauty of challenge reveals itself. Growth doesn't come from staying in your comfort zone. It comes from stepping into the unknown, from facing your fears head-on, and from proving to yourself that you're stronger than you ever realized. Walking away may feel like breaking, but it's also the beginning of becoming whole. And here's the thing about growth. It creates opportunities you never could have imagined. When you let go of what isn't right for you, you make room for what is. Maybe it's a relationship that feels healthier and more aligned with your values. Maybe it's a career opportunity you never pursued because you were too focused on making the relationship work. Or maybe it's simply the joy of rediscovering who you are when you're not defined by someone else. This isn't just about romantic love, it's about your relationship with life itself. Stoicism teaches us to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Instead of resisting the pain or longing for things to go back to the way they were, Stoicism encourages us to accept what is and use it as a stepping stone for what's to come. Walking away might feel like an ending, but it's really a beginning. It's the start of a journey back to yourself, a journey where you get to explore what makes you happy, what lights you up, and what kind of love you truly deserve. Along the way, you'll discover strengths you didn't know you had. You'll develop a resilience that makes you unshakable, and you'll find a sense of peace that comes from knowing you made the right choice for your future. But growth isn't always linear. There will be days when you miss him, days when you wonder if you made a mistake. That's part of the process. It's okay to feel those things. What matters is that you keep moving forward, because every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you're meant to live. And here's a secret. The pain doesn't last forever. It fades slowly but surely, until one day you wake up and realize you're not just surviving, you're thriving. You look back on the relationship not with bitterness, but with gratitude for the lessons it taught you. You realize that walking away wasn't the end of your story, it was the beginning of the best chapter yet. So the next time you find yourself hesitating, remember this: growth is never easy, but it's always worth it. The challenges you face today are shaping you into the person you're meant to become. The opportunities you're dreaming of are waiting for you on the other side of this pain. Walking away is hard, but staying in a place that stunts your growth is harder. Choose the challenge that leads to freedom, strength, and possibility. Choose yourself. In the end, you'll look back on this moment as a turning point. The moment you decided to embrace the discomfort of growth instead of settling for the familiarity of stagnation. The moment you chose to trust that better opportunities were waiting for you, even if you couldn't see them yet. That's the beauty of life. It rewards the brave. It honors those who are willing to take the leap, even when they're afraid. And it always replaces what was lost with something greater. Your only job is to keep moving forward. 6. Staying can cost you your freedom. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly felt free? Free to make your own choices without second-guessing yourself. Free to pursue your passions without worrying how someone else might react. Free to simply be who you are without fear of judgment or criticism. If you've been in a relationship that feels heavy, suffocating, or limiting, chances are you haven't felt that kind of freedom in a long time. And that's the heartbreaking truth about staying in the wrong relationship. It doesn't just steal your happiness, it costs you your freedom. Freedom is one of the most precious things we have. It's the ability to create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. It's waking up each day knowing you're in charge of your own destiny. But when you stay with someone who doesn't value or support your growth, that freedom slowly slips away. At first, it might not seem like much. Maybe you stop voicing your opinions because you know he won't really listen. Maybe you put your dreams on hold because they don't align with his plans. Maybe you start to shrink yourself little by little until you barely recognize the person you've become. Over time, the cost becomes undeniable. You realize that the life you're living isn't yours. It's shaped by someone else's expectations, needs, and desires. And while you may love him, you can't ignore the fact that staying means losing a part of yourself. Walking away is your chance to reclaim that freedom. It's your opportunity to take back control of your life and start living on your own terms. It's a declaration that you will no longer let anyone, no matter how much you care for them, hold you back from becoming the person you're meant to be. This isn't about blaming him or pointing fingers. It's about recognizing that a healthy relationship should enhance your freedom, not diminish it. True love doesn't trap you, it liberates you. It gives you the confidence to chase your dreams, explore your passions, and live a life that feels expansive and full of possibility. The principles of Stoic dating remind us that we cannot control others, we can only control ourselves. If the relationship you're in is limiting your freedom, it's up to you to make the choice to step away. Walking away isn't giving up, it's taking a stand for your own happiness and well-being. Freedom isn't just about physical independence, it's about emotional and mental freedom too. When you're in a relationship that constantly drains you, it's hard to feel emotionally free. You might find yourself walking on eggshells, worrying about his moods, or trying to meet his expectations at the expense of your own. Walking away changes all of that. It opens the door to a life where you can be unapologetically yourself. A life where your choices are driven by your own desires and values, not by someone else's limitations. And here's the best part. When you reclaim your freedom, you become magnetic. There's something incredibly attractive about a woman who knows her worth and isn't afraid to demand it. A woman who values her independence and isn't willing to sacrifice it for anything less than a love that truly respects and honors her. So let me ask you, what would your life look like if you were completely free? Free to chase your dreams. Free to say no to what doesn't serve you. Free to embrace your passions and create a future that excites you. If that vision lights a fire in your heart, it's time to take action. Hit that like button and comment number 1 below if you're ready to reclaim your freedom. Let the world know that you're choosing yourself, your happiness, and your independence over anything that holds you back. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We're just getting started on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment, And I promise you, the best is yet to come. Freedom is your birthright. Don't let fear, doubt, or comfort stop you from claiming it. Walking away might feel scary, but it's also the most liberating thing you can do. It's your chance to break free from the chains of a relationship that no longer aligns with who you are and step into a future that feels limitless. This is your moment, your opportunity to rise above the limitations you've been living with and create a life that feels like yours again. Take it, embrace it, and never look back. 7. Walking away is a sign of strength, not weakness. Have you ever stopped to wonder why walking away feels so heavy? Why does it often come with a sense of guilt or failure, even when you know deep down that it's the right choice? Society has conditioned us to believe that staying is a virtue, that enduring is strength, and that walking away is somehow a sign of weakness. But let me tell you something that might surprise you. Walking away is one of the most powerful, courageous acts you can ever make. Strength isn't about how much you can endure. It's not about staying in a relationship that drains you, simply to prove that you're loyal or committed. True strength lies in your ability to recognize when something no longer serves you and having the courage to let it go. Walking away requires you to confront your fears, the fear of being alone, of starting over, of losing someone you love. It forces you to step into the unknown, a place where there are no guarantees or clear paths. But in that uncertainty lies your power. When you walk away, you take control of your life. You stop allowing circumstances or another person to dictate your happiness. Think about it. How many times have you stayed in a situation simply because it felt safer than leaving? How often have you told yourself, I'll just wait a little longer, hoping that things might magically improve? The truth is, staying in the wrong relationship often takes less strength than walking away. It's easier to stay where you are, even if it's painful, than to face the discomfort of change. But here's the catch. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. Strength doesn't develop through complacency. Walking away isn't about giving up, it's about choosing yourself. It's about saying, I deserve better than this, and I'm strong enough to go find it. Walking away also sends a powerful message, not just to others, but to yourself. It's a reminder that you are worthy of a love that fulfills and uplifts you, that you will not settle for anything less than what you deserve. It's an act of self-respect, and there is nothing weak about that. In fact, walking away often requires a level of emotional resilience that many people never reach. It forces you to confront not only your feelings for him, but also your relationship with yourself. It challenges you to ask tough questions. What do I want? What do I deserve? Am I living in alignment with my values? These are not easy questions to answer, but they are essential. Because at the end of the day, the person you'll spend your entire life with is you. The decisions you make now will shape not only your present, but also your future. And here's something else to consider. Walking away doesn't mean you don't love him. It doesn't mean you don't care, that you didn't give it your all. What it does mean is that you've recognized the relationship is no longer aligned with your happiness or your growth. It's about understanding that love, no matter how deep, is not enough to sustain a relationship that lacks respect, effort, or compatibility. Strength is knowing your worth. It's refusing to stay in a place that diminishes your light. It's having the courage to face the pain of loss in order to make room for something greater. And let me tell you, that strength doesn't go unnoticed. The people around you see it. The universe sees it. But most importantly, you see it. Every time you make the hard choice to walk away from something that isn't right for you, you reinforce your own self-worth. You remind yourself of your own power. You might not feel strong right away. In fact, you might feel the opposite, vulnerable, raw, and unsure of yourself. But over time, as you begin to heal, you'll realize just how much courage it took to make that decision. And that courage will become a foundation you can build on. Walking away is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where you take center stage, where you define your own happiness, and where you refuse to settle for anything less than the love and life you deserve. So if you're struggling with the decision to leave, remind yourself of this. You are not weak. You are not giving up. You are choosing strength over fear, self-respect over comfort, and possibility over stagnation. And that is the mark of a truly powerful woman. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like tears on your pillow as you make the choice to let go. Sometimes it's the shaky first steps into an unknown future. But make no mistake, it is strength all the same. And it is strength that will carry you through to the life and love you deserve. Trust yourself. Trust your resilience. And remember, walking away is not the end of the road. It's the start of a journey toward something extraordinary. You're stronger than you think, and the best is yet to come. 8. Integrity is the key to long-term happiness. When all is said and done, who do you answer to at the end of the day? It's not him. It's not your friends, your family, or the world outside. The person you answer to is yourself. That's why your integrity, your ability to stay true to your values, principles, and authentic self is one of the most precious things you own. In any relationship, there will always be compromise. That's natural. But there's a difference between healthy compromise and sacrificing the core of who you are. When you find yourself in a relationship that asks you to abandon your values, shrink your dreams, or ignore your instincts, it's time to ask yourself a crucial question. Am I staying true to myself? Walking away isn't just about leaving him behind. It's about holding on to your integrity. It's about recognizing that no relationship, no matter how much love it once held, is worth losing yourself over. Integrity isn't something you can afford to trade. It's the foundation of your happiness, your self-respect, and your ability to live a fulfilling life. When you compromise your values for the sake of staying in a relationship, you chip away at the trust you have in yourself. And without that trust, life becomes infinitely harder. How can you make the right decisions for your future when you've lost faith in your own judgment? How can you create a life that feels meaningful if you're constantly betraying the very principles that define who you are? Think about it. Have you ever stayed silent when your heart was screaming to speak? Have you ignored red flags because you didn't want to rock the boat? Have you allowed things to slide that you knew deep down you shouldn't? These moments might feel small in the moment, but over time they add up. They erode your sense of self. Walking away is your way of saying no more. It's your way of reclaiming your integrity and standing firm in who you are. It's about reminding yourself and the world that you will not bend or break for anything that doesn't align with your values. This is where Stoic Dating can offer invaluable perspective. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our boundaries, our choices, and to let go of what we cannot. By walking away, you're choosing to control the one thing that truly matters: how you honor yourself. Here's the thing about integrity. It's not always easy to maintain. It often requires you to make hard choices, to face uncomfortable truths, and to stand firm in the face of doubt. But the reward is immeasurable. When you live with integrity, you build a life that feels authentic and aligned. You attract people and opportunities that resonate with who you truly are, not the version of yourself you pretended to be. And let's not forget the long-term impact. People come and go, but you are always with yourself. You can't escape who you are, so why would you want to betray that person? When you prioritize your integrity, you set yourself up for a life of peace, confidence, and self-respect. Walking away doesn't mean the relationship didn't matter. It doesn't mean you didn't love him. It means you've chosen to love yourself more. It means you're honoring the commitment you made to yourself long before he entered the picture, the commitment to live authentically, to stay true to your values, and to never settle for less than you deserve. So, let me ask you, what does integrity mean to you? What would it look like to live a life where every decision you make reflects your truest self? If this message resonates with you, take a moment to hit that like button and comment number 1 below. Let the world know you're choosing integrity, self-respect, and long-term happiness over anything that asks you to compromise who you are. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This journey isn't just about relationships, it's about becoming the best version of yourself. Together, we're building a foundation of strength, wisdom, and resilience, and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Integrity isn't just the key to happiness, it's the key to everything. When you honor your values, You unlock a sense of peace and purpose that nothing else can give you. You create a life that feels whole, unshakable, and deeply fulfilling. Walking away might be one of the hardest decisions you'll ever make, but it's also one of the most important. It's your way of saying, I choose me. I choose my values. I choose my future. And that, my dear, is a choice worth celebrating. Always. So here we are, at the end of this journey, but really it's just the beginning for you. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth. Walking away from the man you love is never easy, but it's sometimes the most necessary, empowering decision you can make. Each of the reasons we've explored, self-respect, refusing to settle, reclaiming control, overcoming fear, embracing challenges, seeking freedom, choosing strength, and holding on to integrity, boils down to one central theme: choosing yourself. You are the constant in your own life, the person you'll always have to live with day in and day out. The decisions you make today will shape the future you wake up to tomorrow. And the most important decision of all is to put your happiness, your growth, and your self-worth first. This doesn't mean you didn't love him or that the relationship wasn't meaningful. It doesn't mean you failed. It means you recognized that your path and his were no longer aligned, and you were brave enough to honor that truth. Walking away is not the end. It's a beginning. It's the start of a life where you can rediscover yourself, rebuild your dreams, and create space for the kind of love that meets you where you are. The kind of love that doesn't ask you to shrink, sacrifice, or compromise your values. You deserve that love. But even more importantly, you deserve the love you give yourself. The love that says, I will not settle for less than I deserve. I will not stay where I am not valued. I will not betray myself for anyone. So take a moment right now to honor yourself for even considering this path, for recognizing your worth, for embracing the possibility of growth, freedom, and integrity. If this message spoke to your heart, take action. Hit that like button and comment number 1 below to let me know you're ready to choose yourself. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so we can continue this journey together. Remember, every decision you make, big or small, is shaping your future. Make the choice that aligns with your highest self. Walk away when it's necessary, and trust that in letting go, you're making room for something greater to come into your life. You are powerful. You are worthy. And your story is just beginning. Here's to choosing yourself and creating a future that's as extraordinary as you are. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself. You're worth it.